Hello guys and welcome to Geopolitical Simulator, Power and Revolution. It's been a long time since I've taken on this game, but now that we've reached the 2023 edition and I see they've moved on to GPS 5, which is sure to be a buggy mess, I feel like we'll just take this as it is. It's probably in its most bug-free state it's ever been and will ever be. So I'm excited to give it another shot. Went ahead and bought this, and I'm excited. I couldn't really pick which nation to start as, so I picked Sweden. And here's why. Their starting situation is, I think, kind of balanced. It's good for me to relearn how to play the game. And they're in an interesting situation because this is before they were accepted into NATO in real life. That's a 2024 event. Finland's already there. I forget, there's like a map. Here it is, found it. I couldn't find this for the longest time. The NATO map. So all this yellow stuff, this is NATO. So it's looking nice. Hey, they actually have North Macedonia in there now. I don't think they did last time I played in the 2020 edition. But Sweden in real life did end up joining NATO in 2024. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, and I'm going to explain what the goal of this playthrough will be. Because as we know, this playthrough will probably end to bugs before it ends to me reaching any long-term goals. It's just how Geopolitical Simulator goes. But that's fine. What I'm going to do, this is not what I'm looking for, other organizations, I'm going to apply to become a member of NATO. And I think they should accept me, considering this nation already hits pretty much all the bells and whistles, everything that NATO would want. I was tempted to play some other nations like Ireland, even Angola, Chile, and we'll do that. I plan on hopefully playing a lot of this version, more of this version than any other, because at this point there's no hope for them fixing anything, right? It's just as it is, and it's how it will be, and GPS 5 is looking to be a lot different. So let's get into this. Let's see what we have. So long-term goals is to join NATO, right, and become a fairly reasonably good member of it, economically, like dominant, hopefully militarily sufficient as well. And for that, we're gonna have to take some short-term goals. It's pretty open-ended because, again, I expect the save will just corrupt eventually. But comparing ourselves to our neighbors, Finland, it says we actually have more military might, which is quite impressive considering our army is so tiny. I don't think this is counting reservists because I know the Finns are supposed to have a gigantic reserve. Our reservists are very tiny. That probably is exactly what's happening. Our education training, that's new. There's a lot of new things that I don't know about, by the way. So I'm going to be playing a lot of this, learning it, and I'm going to probably remake the 2 guides I made on the older version and then make a bunch of new ones too. Norway is kind of in a similar military situation. So we're all kind of similar. And in terms of economy, out of all 3 of us, we are doing the best. So we are going to try to simply build ourselves up to surpass our Nordic friends first, in a friendly way. Ukraine, this is not really my problem. This playthrough is not focused on Ukraine. It's going to be focused on taking Sweden and making it good. Now, we barely have a budget surplus. We have pretty high inflation and we have a substandard growth. So the inflation will move to the growth. There's no concern about that. We're not in the euro, so we do have control over our interest rate. I think this is fine how it is. What I actually need to probably do is increase growth. That will help a number of things. And because we're in the EU, I don't really entirely know how the EU works in this game, so it's a good chance to learn. I know we can propose, EU budgetary things. We're gonna learn. So this is cool. So we're actually a part of the European Space Agency. So we just are automatically taking part in all of these, which is pretty sweet. Which is good, because that's good for getting our popularity up. There's a lot of things the EU helps fund the budget of, and I plan on trying to take advantage of that to get our popularity up and to get our situation better as well. Now, we are going to need more money. We barely have a budget excess right now, but our public debt, which I believe is our debt, says 200 billion. I forget if that's the correct number. Let's check this screen as well. Finance actually doesn't say anything about it. Apparently we have 2 billion worth of sectors nationalized. I need to get some sectors off the ground is something we're going to have to do. But public debt, we have, yeah, this looks like it's probably correct. Not sectors nationalized. 200 billion, and I'm not sure how much money we're moving. We have a budget of 128 billion. That means our debt is actually pretty low. Our debt is pretty low. Percentage, 33% of GDP. That's not that bad. Well, we don't want that to change. We don't want that to change at all. One thing I'll do is I'll take the tax on company turnover. This is a pretty decent one for money. Decent, maybe not the best. I think they've fixed a lot of the ones that were easily exploited in older editions, which is good because that will challenge me. Note, this will be recorded pretty ahead of time. So if you make any suggestions, you might not see me really respond or implement them in this series, but I plan to do more series for sure. And you'll definitely see me adapt in the long run. But yeah, it's just a 0.03% change. I just want to see a nice even number of company turnover. Thankfully, everybody is for it. I didn't even really look at what our situation was. So I just picked this guy because he was the youngest. Election day is in 1,351 days. That is a long time from now. Where do they put elections now? Elections. European elections? So it's a 4-year term. 1,351 days. That sounds so long from now. What's the European election? I'm so confused by that. European elections? Is that for like the EU? It doesn't show the presidential election here for some reason. But I guess we've been in power for a little bit. Our head of state, we got a term limit of unlimited. Oh, well, that's perfect because I picked like the youngest guy. What party are we? United Republic Movement, right-leaning. Okay. By European standards, that probably means it's center or like center-left from my understanding of European politics. So our party, our side doesn't really approve of what I just did. Well, it's fine. I'm not necessarily going to meet all of their expectations. We're not going to min-max this, by the way. We're just going to try to have some fun here. There's a lot of very good taxes we can do. I know, like the tax on industrial pollution. I'm not sure how quickly we can move that in steps, but there are some taxes that I see that are just missing here that we could go for as well. For example, oh yeah, there's a lot. I want just 0.01% tax on financial transactions, which as you can see, it says is worth like 4 times more than the one I just did. But if I remember correctly, this one, after it takes effect, usually, initially, ends up being better than you'd think it would be. So we're going to try to implement that as well. And actually, the center of, especially the center right, really likes this, which is good. And nobody's really against this very small change. But that small change is worth, combined with the other one, is probably going to be worth something like at least $500 million, which I know is not a lot. We're going to make some more changes. It's going to be more than it's showing. I am confident of that. $500 million is not a lot here, but it is enough to get going. There's only so much in the way of happiness that you can get in the short term. So we're going to try to like min-max that. How is our unemployment at the start here? Our unemployment is at a resounding 7.66%. So we need some employment, definitely. Of course, the EU doesn't want to make sure that unemployment payments are not going to the wrong individuals. No, they just want to make sure that everything else is going. Oh, they'll actually help with unreported employment. Interesting. Well, what if I want to just go all into this right here? 134 million. That is less than we're spending. And it says including funding in millions from the European Union. I don't know if that 34 million is coming out of the 134, but they're covering 34%. They're covering 34 million, 25% roughly of this. So that's really, really good. So we'll do that to try to get some popularity. We want to get our popularity up as we inch towards doing these different things. So yeah, I already know how this works. So I'm going to get my first save to prevent any crashes. We're going to go pretty slow about this at the beginning and then maybe look towards getting some industries off the ground. There's a lot of things I'm going to want to get off the ground as well. But before I do get them off the ground, you might remember I like to do this. I want to get them as sectors with state involvement, which is something that has to pass. Everyone's for it, especially the left. Damn commies. There's only one right-leaning party that's against it. It's the CRC, Conformist Right Coalition. Well, good thing they don't have a lot of seats. Like this, we do have to worry about seats too, huh? There's so many parties, man. There's so many. Where's the elections? 2026? All right, well, that doesn't matter too much. They have a 4-year term. It is proportional, not majority, meaning my American brain will not understand how this works at all. They have the max power, so we are very democratic. I don't think I really intend to have us become a dictatorship in this playthrough. I think I did that in a lot of my other playthroughs. I want to play Sweden as if it was Sweden, and I want to simply lead them into joining NATO and being a contributing part of NATO, the European Union, and seeing if we can bring them beyond what they are. Just kind of doing our best to improve them, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of other things that I definitely want to get going. Anything X'd out that we can get up, I'll want to get up. Okay, so good. Public sector, old folks, social, employment, good bonuses. We got like a 4.7%. A lot of these things are going to be very beginning of the game type of stuff. So basically saying it's not really going to be relevant to us. I do wonder how this new Ukraine stuff works, because I saw there's this new thing, estimated GDP loss from sanctions percentage. Is that yearly? Is that just, they got growth loss? I see Russia, right? Authoritarian right versus right. That's funny. And then Ukraine doesn't really have anything here, but I saw they did add the ability to give weapons to a country. So, and it defaults to Ukraine. And I could just give them any of my weapons if I want, especially if I'm like upgrading, for example. And we'll probably receive updates on this, just like we used to get in, what was it, Rulers of Nations, GPS 2, with the Iraq war, except this is an actual war that's being fought, which if we unpause, we can actually see the missiles flying. We can see the fighting going on. Again, I'm not concerning myself with winning this because we're just Sweden. We're just a very small thing. I'll try to do some check-ins on it. So like right now, this is what it looks like. In case you want to commit this to memory, I can't promise I will. Russia has this like defensive trench network. These trenches are new as well. Along this river right here. And then also going up this way towards, I believe this is, yeah, Donetsk. No, Donbass. Donetsk is somewhere around here, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, and Bakhmut is currently under siege. The Russians winning that. I think they won that in real life too. I stopped following this war as closely as I did. What the heck is this? Are these the new suicide drones? I know there's suicide drones now. That's a lot. That's something we can hopefully get to making. But this is what it looks like right now. Who knows how long this war is going to go on. I'm not really investing myself too much into it. It's not something I care a whole lot about. We are Sweden. We are thankfully kind of distant to this. I have some goals. We're going to make like an aircraft base over here at some point, you know, and go from there. But, oh yeah, the war against Russia. Give us weapons. Balance of power puts us at a disadvantage. We need weapons. And NATO file accepted. Okay, this is exactly what we want. I'm pretty sure we're going to get into NATO. I'm not exactly sure what that will bring except a bunch of military alliances. There's an economic effectiveness influence, but this doesn't have any of that. Shows you the total GDP of all the nations here. The budget of it is 4.3 billion. Don't know what it does with that budget. You see the total population of all countries involved, the number of member countries, its creation date, and defensive effectiveness influence with the, you know, Western Europe and America in here, of course. We'd have these guys pretty much defending us. I do wonder, do we have anything like that right now? Do we have any alliances? Can I view all countries, treaties? Support. Okay, the EU, that's right. The EU has defensive pacts, right? Yes, that's what support is. The EU has a defensive pact with everyone involved. So we are kind of defended already anyway, thanks to the EU. I remember I used to do this all the time, where I would go around and just start withdrawing the gifts that we give other nations. There's a lot of these like African nations that really, I don't see that they need what we're giving them. So I'll probably start silently withdrawing a lot of this. So, I mean, look at this. In billions. This is millions. This is a lot of money for our budget. So I'll probably start silently withdrawing a lot of this. Nations like Ukraine, I might leave alone. I might give you another update at some point. But a lot of these African, Middle Eastern, just the nations that are not aligned with us, probably withdraw most of our aid slowly over time. I don't know if that has any negative effects anymore. Just in the background. Ha! Well, public finances is getting a boost as, yeah, this... I just canceled the ones you saw, and our budget surplus has increased dramatically. If we can get completely out of debt, that would be cool as well. Most of our loan is internal. But yeah, if we can get completely out of debt, that would be great. And so far, it's just making everybody happy. And it's just getting better and better. So you can expect me to keep doing this. Oh yeah, we're also in the Council of the Baltic Sea States. What is this? It shows like it's a military one, and maybe it is. But it seems more economic. It only has an economic rating. So I'm going to assume that's what it is. But it looks just like a military organization. I know we can still make our own. Economic markets, monetary union, producing countries. Producing countries. That's really interesting. That would be neat to look into, making our own. But since we're part of the EU, we're going to join NATO. And we have a couple other pretty unique ones here. Like the Council of the Baltic States, which is Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Poland, Russia. Well, it's definitely not military then. It's definitely not military. How do I get them kicked out of here? Why are you in here? You're warmongering. European Space Agency. That one's just good for us. The EU. This one's really interesting. I like how the defensive effectiveness is so low. Degree of harmonization. I don't know what this means. This is beyond me. Ooh, the ICC, America's least favorite organization in existence. The Nordic Council, another economic monetary thing, I believe. OSED, yeah, we know what OSED is. World Health Organization and World Trade. World Trade's probably going to kick me out. They always kick me out. I wouldn't be surprised. We got another public finances bonus. I'm looking around to try to see if we contribute any money. The World Bank, we do not seem to... We are a donor, probably, but it does not seem like we contribute any of the quota. Our quota is weak. What about the IMF? Do we contribute anything here? Quota is weak. All right, we're not important enough to contribute a quota. Some receivers contribute a quota. That's funny. What about to the UN? Man, America's paying 47%. Dude, if I played an America playthrough, I can't believe I haven't done that yet. Can you believe that? I think, I don't know. I would want to leave this so bad. Like, screw the UN. But it's too powerful in this game to leave. If you're a permanent member, you just kind of like have to stay. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with terrorism. I'm not going to go messing around in anybody else's country. I have no goals to do that. Everything we have right now is pretty internal. Yeah, it looks like everyone's pretty for that nationalization. So I'm going to go around and we're going to do that with more. State involvement for suicide drones, which everyone is all for. We're going to do... I'm not going to go full nationalization, but I remember you can make it more stable and get a little more income here. And it's easiest to do when there isn't anything there yet. So the tire industry, the utility vehicle construction, they're not equally for it on everything. With the tire industry, they're just flat out against it. In fact, I don't know why. Maybe we can set up... Maybe I'm doing this too quickly. Maybe set up a meeting with Robert here to try to help get that through. Public sector gets a bonus. Illegal employment. Let's be ambitious. They added a lot of like illegal immigration and like just very like these America-centric issues they have added to the game. Alright, so our meeting with this guy is going to be today. Let's have this meeting. Offer coffee, champagne. Dude, you're so radiant. Before proposing a bill to the parliament, can they do that? I don't know which one of these it is. I'm just going to ask him to encourage all of them, and he says no. He just says no. Okay, well. Nope. I'll ask for these other ones. That didn't really do what I had hoped that it would, sadly. Well, alright. I tried to butter him up and everything, but for some of these, I don't think he'll say yes. If any of them fail, then they fail. It is what it is. I'll maybe come back to those later. I'm just kind of looking for the ones that'll be the easiest, you know? So, video games, state involvement. Wow, they're really against this one. Is it just getting worse? Like, what's going on here? Some of them are so positive. If I can't get it, then it's fine. You know, it's not the worst thing. State involvement on satellites, they're all for that one. Yeah, if I can't get it on some of them, then it's fine. I don't mind. We have on the pharmaceutics industry. That's interesting. Other surface ships. There's a lot of these that are not active. I'll just get as many as I can. Nuclear submarines. Because I would love to make my own. At the very least, I would love as many of these active as possible. Because their activity is kind of like an economic boon of sorts. But yeah, just expect me to go through as many of these as possible. They won't all pass, as you can see. I'm going to go through as many as possible, though, and get them swapped over to state involvement in industry and in the other ones. And right now, it's gaining me popularity through public sector, so hopefully this keeps up. So this is interesting. We have fully nationalized the beer sector. That's interesting. I don't want anything fully nationalized, so I'm going to try to reduce that. This says it will make me money. I don't want this direct national control. I like having one foot in. I'm fine with totally privatized. I don't want to nationally control anything. That's not the vision that I have for this country. So I'm going to go to state involvement, which supposedly will make me money. I would take that with a grain of salt. Dang, look at this. Public sector, because I'm doing so much of the nationalizing. And so, FIROM? Or North Macedonia now. I'm so used to calling them FIROM. Wants a meeting. That's fine. We can have a meeting whenever you want. Success leaves me speechless. Yeah, maybe I should be pacing this more so that this doesn't, like, reach a point where it's like, oh, hey, you're doing this too quickly or whatever. And then we don't get this. But with the ESA Space Agency and other things, there's so much to do to get popularity. And because I don't plan on warmongering, it shouldn't be too bad anyway. And a lot of what I'm going to be doing is helping the national deficit as it is. Maybe for now, I'll go back to just getting rid of gifts. I'm probably going to get rid of these gifts for NATO countries as well. However, I'm going to wait until I get accepted into NATO before I start doing that. I went through all the ones that it like defaults to, but yeah, this is a lot of good money. Oh, cool. So in the news, we can get updates on countries actually giving weapons. I wish we could see what weapons like we can in real life, like the total amount and values. But Poland, so the AI does this. The AI is giving weapons to Ukraine in the war against Russia. That's really, really cool. Oh, in some cases we can. Look at this. United States donated 499 conventional missiles. That's what I like to see. That's really cool. I don't know about you guys. Like, that's my favorite thing to look up is to see, like, how much stuff is changing hands and values. I don't know why. There's something about the numbers that just tickles my brain. Universities overcrowded in Greenland. There's some good hints we can find in these pages. Oh, hey, what's this? Ooh, 91,000 civilians killed in conflict against Russia. That's not good. More than 34,500 of soldiers have died since the beginning of the conflict. Oh, okay. Nice, we're getting these updates. Yeah, just like the war in Iraq type stuff. What is this? Brethren of Islam, Syria conflict, rebels retreat. Yeah, that's right. Syria's having like a big fight with its guys. We know how that ends in real life. I'm sure it won't end that way here. Not quite, no. But that's good to see. We're also getting some public finances, state employees, bonuses. Now, I wanted to just feel something out that I don't think is going to be very positive, but I wanted to feel it out anyway, is the legislation of non-conventional gas and oil, because we want to be very successful in this modern world. Something that could, come in handy is this. So I'm going to poll it before we do it. 71K, it's not a lot compared to seeing. So the people will not be very happy, but our entire center and right, this is center right, really? Where does center start? Here? Center, and then we immediately go to socialists? What the hell is this country? Okay, what about full exploitation? So people really don't like that, but it can pass. So we're gonna go for tests and exploration authorized exploitation ban. I don't know if there even is any here. I could probably check, but this will get us our population thinking and moving in the right direction. So I'm going to do that. The reason why I'm doing that is because we're building up popularity. If this is 100, you know, we're wasting popularity. I don't know if you remember that. So I want to actually get that up there. Oh my God, they'll fund the deconstruction, or it says they will, they won't actually, of nuclear and fossil energy. Dude, that's hilarious. The EU stuff here is quite interesting. Conditional EU aid. Available aid remaining. Am I the one consuming a lot of this? I feel like I probably am. Also, if you were curious, Australia has a wildfire. What a surprise. New Zealand has a tsunami. Wow, so it just sucks to live over here right now. Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff happening over here. Demonstrations. Oh, that was loud. We got a whole bunch of fighting over here. The Houthis, basically, I think. Yemen. I don't know. None of this really concerns me. I'm not an international anything. I am just Sweden. So that's probably going to piss off my population a little bit. But it's okay. I'm going to continue to get some money by getting rid of these. There's probably some more unpopular things that I would like to do as well. Yeah, for normal oil and gas, I see there could be some gas up in those mountains, but not a lot. The shale I can't actually even look for. Where was that? There was very little of it. It's probably because it's getting close to like what Norway has. The shale stuff is just not really there. Yeah, so it's up here along this. So there's gas over there. So what about actual oil? Is there any of that stuff? I don't think there is. But we could get a little bit of gas, just normal gas going, and that would help the economy. That would be one thing that would help the economy. I don't know that that would be too popular, but I'm actually already converting that to... Where is it? I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. I'm converting that as well, or trying to convert that over to be partially nationalized. So maybe we'll just wait until that. But that's my plan. I'm going to build that gas, build as much of it as I can in that weak area. 5. Remember, 5 is the golden number. Anything, unless they've changed it, but I doubt they have. Anything more than that would just be silly. Okay, we finally got that population hit. The environment is unhappy. Public finances, energy independence goes up. They're happy about that. Energy, but the environment hit is crazy. It's absolutely crazy from that proposition. I have a lot of suppressions of economic aid. The fight against inflation. Yeah, there's a fight against inflation. Until we hit the next month, there won't be a lot to really observe there. But with that legislation going through, because I feel like there might be some shale. Our center, right, and maybe even, I don't know how right Sweden really goes. I can't imagine it goes too right. Is very in favor of this, so this will go through, and this could be a huge boon to our economy, where the growth is currently 2.56. We have that unemployment. This is one of many ways to fix it. I'm trying to set up a lot of things we can do, essentially. It does look like we are out of time for this episode, though, so I'm going to go ahead and end this one here, get the game saved. I'm happy to be back playing this. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your feedback throughout the series so I can hopefully implement as much of it as possible in the future ones. Give me nations you want to see me play. For now, though, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.